Hi, everyone, and thank you for stopping by Thriving and Beyond today. My name's Leslie, and I created this channel for survivors of abuse and particularly narcissistic abuse to come and learn and grow and share experiences, ask questions, a safe place for all of us to come and really continue our journeys into recovery and healing from this type of abuse. What I wanted to do today was share a story of the one and only time I tried to reconcile with the narcissist. I will be using the initial R to refer to the narcissist in this case, and wanted just to let you all know that the attempts at reconciliation generally are because we want to believe in the good. We want to believe that there is a chance with this person that we do love, to believe in the hope of the relationship, that if we work hard enough, thinking that maybe both of us will be working hard enough, the relationship actually can work. However, we know with a narcissist, any reconciliation that feels good at the moment is very short lived, and over time, the patterns of abusive behavior only return. So it's important to note also that even with my degree in psychology, a heavy concentration in abnormal psychology, working years in the mental health field, I was still involved in this narcissistic relationship, and it really wasn't that long ago. I ended the relationship in July of 2015, and here we are getting toward the end of 2020. So it has been a few years, but I remember this reconciliation attempt almost like it was yesterday. After the breakup, there was a period of really no one contacting each other. R didn't contact me. I certainly didn't contact R. And then slowly there were a few texts going back and forth about getting our stuff back from each other. And that, I think, really did open the door and crack open the door just a little bit for that line of communication. But we know with the narcissist, there would have been some attempt at some point. They do not let go. They continue on and on and on. So we were texting back and forth. And then, of course, there was the inevitable, how about if we get together and talk? And I thought to myself, well, I really don't have anything to lose. Ha ha ha, what a thought to have. And might as well just go and have lunch and see what we can talk about, see if there is any hope for a reconciliation. At this time, I hadn't been in a relationship, a solid relationship, a lasting relationship for quite a while. And I truly did want that relationship. But I wanted a relationship that I had built up in my own head. I didn't want the relationship that would have been the eventuality. And I did know that. On some level, I knew that an attempted reconciliation would be the wrong decision. It would not work. I knew that. Logically, I knew that. But I still wanted to see if maybe what I knew was somehow wrong. Maybe I was wrong to have the feelings that I was having. Maybe I was wrong in thinking that things could be worked out. So we met at a resort here locally where we live, and we had spent many weekends at this resort, had some wonderful memories there, and we met for lunch. And I could see R sitting at the table already by the time I got there. And so as I was looking and kind of watching as I was walking, R's face didn't move. No smile, no wave hello. And at that moment, even at that moment, I knew, ooh, this is not good. This is not a normal person. This is a person sitting at a table waiting for supposedly their love of their lives, previously engaged to. And it was like walking up to a statue. At that moment, I knew, don't do it. But anyway, we went to lunch, da 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 da. I never went back to the house that I thought one day I would be moving into. But we did spend some time together. We met up a few times. And during this time, R was still in school to become a pastor and working as an associate pastor and working on papers and research and submitting essays and things like that to become a full pastor. Well, I have a background in doing some writing, and R asked my assistance in editing one of the essays. And by now it was probably maybe September, maybe even October. So we're working on the paper and we're sending drafts back and forth. And I thought to myself, something in me thought to myself, this isn't going to work. You're not going to have this relationship. What are you doing? What are you doing spending your time helping this person edit an essay, create a fantastic essay to submit? What are you doing with your time? And I really had to ask myself that. In normal circumstances, I would help anybody who wanted help on something like that. And I thought to myself, it's time for me to be compensated for my work. So I went, and this might sound weird. It might sound weird. So I don't know, but somewhere in my mind, I thought, this is not a relationship. It's now a business transaction. So I somehow let R know that I think it was just a text message. I'm like, listen, I am doing all of this work. You are going to take me shopping afterward. And R said, fine, no problem. So in the next few weeks, we got the paper done, submitted, and R, of course, had no idea that I was going to be ending the relationship. I knew it, but I still had to play along and figure out how I wanted to do it, because addressing the abuse with a narcissist is not the way to end the relationship. At least it wasn't for me. Maybe for some people it does work, and maybe addressing the abuse at least gets that off the victim's chest. But for me, addressing the abuse head on would have been a disaster. So I knew I had to play the cards carefully, play my cards carefully. And instead of donating all of this time on the essays and editing to this abuser, I turned it into a business transaction in my head. And I think that was really smart. So we ended up submitting the papers. R submitted the papers, and we made plans to meet for lunch. Well, there is a restaurant that I don't care for, and R has known this for a long time. But of course, that's the restaurant that R suggested we meet up for lunch. So I said, okay. It happened to be across from the shopping mall we were going to go to later that day as compensation for the work that I had done on the paper. And of course, there were 50 other restaurants we could have chosen or that R could have suggested, but the one that I didn't care for was the one that was suggested. So that's where we went. And I already knew we were done with this relationship. I already knew that I just had a few more hours to, I don't want to say it this way, but I will anyway, to get what I deserved out of it finally. Been working for weeks, knew the relationship was over, knew the moment I saw the statue-like presence of the narcissist at lunch that it wasn't going to work. I still wanted my shopping trip. I don't make a ton of money. So as shallow as it might sound, I did want that shopping trip. I wanted to be compensated. So we got through lunch. Well, I take that back. We didn't get through lunch easily. So during lunch, it was October, at the end of October, and R was talking about an event happening at the church. And it was kind of just telling a story, what was going on, what the events were going to be for the kids, and this and that. And just like normal conversation, I was adding in little bits and pieces and asking some questions. And about halfway through the lunch, the narc stopped talking, R stopped talking. And I thought, ooh, what did I do? So in the middle of a restaurant, in the middle of lunch, people everywhere around, R stops talking. I knew I had done something wrong and I was being punished. This was the first time that I had received the silent treatment in the middle of a restaurant. I had been left at a restaurant, but this was the first time all conversation had stopped in a restaurant. So I knew that in R's mind, I had done something wrong. So I let a few minutes of silence pass and I said, well, are you going to finish your story? And R said, are you going to let me talk? Just like I was a bad child and had done something wrong. And my heart started beating so fast. And I thought, this is really bad. And I said, Leslie, just get through this lunch, go to the mall, get it done. And so that's what I did. I let R tell the story, didn't say a word, played along. We went to the mall, did our shopping. I got some beautiful things for which I am thankful. I am grateful. But remember, I worked for those things. So at the end of the afternoon, we gave each other just a very brief, cold, stiff hug. I was never warmly hugged at all by R, which now looking back, very robotic type of person. So I knew then and there that the moment I drove out of that parking lot that I was free. Now, this isn't to say there weren't months and weeks of attempted continued contact, because there was. And at this time, I was still learning, I was still researching, I was still trying to figure out how narcissists work. So I didn't block right away. I wish I had. I did not go no contact right away. But in November, I believe it was November, at some point I did say, listen, we're not going to be friends. You need to stop contacting me. So there is more to that story about the stalking and all this other stuff that maybe I'll get into another time. But for the sake of this video, I knew in my heart that the reconciliation wasn't going to work. But I think, excuse me, but I think I really had to solidify that for myself and really come to terms with the fact that once and for all, this relationship was over and done. And even though I didn't say that the abusive behavior, excuse me, there's something going on with my voice, that even though with R, I didn't say your abusive behavior is the reason this relationship isn't working, I did know that that was going to be it. But I also do have to think back and take responsibility and accountability for having gone through the relationship and then the breakup, the end of the engagement, and then still wondering, what if it could work? What if I can find a way to make it work? What if we can come together and resolve our differences? It does take a while for the heart to catch up to what we know logically. And that's okay. That's human. We are human beings and we have deep emotions, and those are hard to let go of. The dreams that were sold to me that I bought into, that I wanted, and I have to take responsibility for that too. You know, I wanted that marriage. I wanted that relationship. I wanted that beautiful house and the land and the huge family. I wanted those things. So letting go of those things was tough, really tough. However, my safety, my sanity, my sense of security and stability and mental health and emotional health, all of that had to rise to the top and let everything else fade away. And it became clear that ending the relationship, of course, was the right thing to do. So, anyway, that is my story time for today. It does take a while and maybe several attempts at reconciliation to find out that the patterns of behavior by a narcissist will not change. That is okay. Once we learn the lesson to that degree, it sticks. It may take us a while, it may take us a few times, and that is okay. Once you learn the lesson, it will stick. So please have faith in this journey. Stay the course. Thank you for spending some time with me during this crazy story time. I'll see if I can come up with some others also to post later, sometime later. So have a great day. Thank you again for stopping by Thriving and Beyond. Please subscribe if you haven't. Give the video a thumbs up. And I guess that's all for now. Please take care. Be good to yourself. Self-care always a priority. Bye for now.